Hello, hello. I'm Lori Alvarez, and I welcome you to Real Estate with Soul, the podcast. This is where I will share my story, knowledge, wisdom, and the legacy in real estate, and my family, all boldly wrapped up in one with you. So let's get started. Hey, sister. We are on with another fantastic guest.
Yay.
I know. I'm very excited. Debra, if you didn't know, I'm Lori Alvarez, and this is my sister, Amy Cruz.
Hi.
And we're a real estate family team, and we're excited for you to empower us as women financially. Debra, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, thanks, Lori. And I have listened to you and Amy kibitz as you have on various podcasts. And I celebrate women in business together. And when you can balance family and business together, it's a wonderful combination. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I am a 42-year professional experienced in matters financial. I had my own firm for that many years and basically sold that firm 2 years ago, in which I practiced asset management and financial planning. And subsequent to that, I said, gosh, this is really stupid to allow this kind of experience to lie fallow, and I'm not ready to hang up the sneaks yet. So I said, gosh, I'm going to be a financial coach for women. And that's exactly what I've done for the last 2 years. And I am just completely jazzed about it because women have really not been well socialized, particularly older women. Anybody north of 50, 55 has been socialized fairly poorly around our money, and it's far too valuable of an asset and a tool for us to be ignorant about. And so I'm really on a mission to bring the language of money, bring finances, if you will, into the English language for every woman so that she can wrap her arms around her money and really be intentional about it.
I love that because I know I look back at that and I really think, okay, I am on episode, I think this is like episode 78 or something like that.
78, yeah.
And my very first podcast recording was 8 minutes long. And it was about women negotiating in real estate and how they lose because people believe they're weak in that. And I was like, what the heck? No way.
Yeah, they don't know you very well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Either one of us, right? So I think you're right, Lori, in that previously, women have sometimes felt like that would be too pushy, that would be too man-like, and really it's a commodity. Money is a commodity. We exchange money for everything from broccoli to homes, cars to vacations, services, hospital beds, etc. And it is a tool. And once I believe we get our perspective around money in a very, very clear setting, put things into perspective, then we can befriend it, because women are hardwired with common sense. I know you know this on your pulses.
Yeah.
And so often, I mean, I was raised on a farm, so you're never really going to take the farm analogies out of the girls. So women tend to, and you know, if we had a video here, you know, I'm raising my arms, extending them out on both sides. And women have this whole, you know, bevy of victory stories, if you will, celebrations about their common sense. I mean, just getting your shopping cart through the grocery store, you know, while your kids are like pulling a bunch of crap onto your cart and so forth, is really great, you know. And I say to women, you know, if you have as many kids at the dinner table as you bade goodbye in the morning, you know, you're in management. But we seem to have finances like over here on the side in this separate silo that's kind of like, I'm not going there, I'm too stupid, it's too old, it's too hard, I don't get math, bada bing, bada bang. I've heard a lot.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if we can bring our periphery out to include money, or bring that silo called money right into our you know, main stance, our main glance, if you will, our intention, then we will do, and women do very, very well with money management.
I would agree with that. I think as I have grown in my business and as my personal walk with money, I have saw that I have struggled personally with believing I have the confidence to earn money, to manage it, to even talk about it, invest it, and save it. And I love that you give them tools, women, to move forward in that confidence. What are some suggestions you offer to people, women specifically, in that area?
Well, first of all, I think it's important, Lori, for us to pay ourselves first. And I think this whole socialization of, for the other, all right, for the family, for the partner, for the kids, for the community, for the church, for everything, for our careers. And yet we need to turn the mirror toward ourselves and save for ourselves first. And that really typically requires like an automatic deduction from our paycheck. That's why people have assets in their 401k and not elsewhere, right? It's because they haven't thought about it since the first time they set it up, and they felt it on the first paycheck. And subsequent to that, they didn't feel it at all because why? It was automatic.
Yes.
And once we bring finances into our automatic sphere, just like eating and transporting ourselves and dressing ourselves for various occasions, we can understand, like I'll use analogies all day long. Like you have this whole wardrobe of clothes in your closet, including everything from bathing suits to evening gowns and shoes to match. Like you have this entire panoply of investment options, everything from certificates of depreciation up to, aggressive stocks or venture capital or real estate rental or raw land. We have an entire bevy. You do not trot everything out at once. You do not have one of everything any more than all of the spices in your spice rack go into either a roast or a chocolate cake. You must be judicious and intentional to match the product with the goal, the achievement of a goal that you have set your heart on. And that is what is lacking with most women. They don't have, Lori, a big enough why.
Yeah. Oh,
wow. Yeah.
You're touching that why.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Tell us more about that.
Well, I think that it's very common that, we succumb to marketing. I mean, the marketers are very, very skilled, right? Our parents and certainly grandparents did not have the option to hold in our hands an electronic device, press it with a forefinger, and be able to pick up an item of our desire 2 minutes away in an Amazon locker. Yeah. They didn't have that opportunity. Yes. And we do. And because we have the opportunity doesn't mean we should do it. Yet it is really a temptation if we do not have an alternative. So you've raised kids. I know you have, Lori, and Amy, you're a mother too, right?
Yes. Yes,
so
I am.
How many times did your kids put something in the shopping cart and you say, "No, Jimmy, wouldn't you rather have Cheerios or Fruit Loops or whatever you would say?" You'd give them an alternative, and they might look at you with this deadpan stare, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'd rather have that," right? And that's what we are missing if we don't have our why defined.
Yes.
See, if you have your heart set on, I want a second home on the lake with the mountain view, whatever, on the ocean side with a view of the ocean, you have your mind and heart set on that. You are going to think twice before you press that electronic cell phone and you buy something on impulse. You just are. Because you're going to make a vision board. You're going to have it in your mind. First of all, you're going to have it probably plastered physically on various locations within your house, office, or car. On your bathroom mirror, wherever, in order to remind yourself, because we are so easily distracted. And the media people know that.
Yes.
And they capitalize on it. So first of all, women, we need to leave everything in your electronic shopping carts for at least 24, if not 48 hours. Period. Believe me, it's not going away. Those retailers are going to say to you, Lori, Amy, you've got your shopping cart open. And you're going to smile, and you're going to say, "Yes, I do. And I don't need that, really. Now that I think of it, I got something that's pretty close. And no, I want that home on the lake. And I want to be able to go there for weekends." And you set your heart and intention on whatever your why. Yeah. Yes. I think in 2008-9, in the recession, when real estate went down and the stock market went down, I think people really got the life tamped out of them. I think there was a pall cast along the American society anyway. And I think that we are not yet recovered from grief. That's before this pandemic with COVID. And so I'm a certified grief coach as well. And I look for signs where people are tamped down. And I spend so much of my time teasing out, "Lori, what do you want?"
Yeah.
And so often women stare at me like deer in the headlights. "I don't know. I'm just getting through tomorrow."
Yeah.
So then I attack it from the opposite because, see, I think comparison is valuable. I say, "Well, Lori, Amy, you probably don't want to retire. I don't care if you use the word retire or whatever. Right. Kick back, 2 days a week instead of, 7. Right. How about I don't suspect you want to live in a lifestyle lesser than you're living in now. No. So you're jumping on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's an obvious question. And now we can winnow down as to what exactly you would like. And you're not going to know it. If you haven't primed that pump for a long time, maybe forever, it's not going to just fall out like a waterfall. You're going to tease some things out. You're going to write some things down on a little tablet. You're probably not even going to show anybody. You're probably not even going to look at it for a little while because it scares you. And then you're going to say, no, I'm going to do this every day. I got to do something every day continuously for 28 days before it's really going to be cemented as a change. So you're going to do it every day. And if you skip a day, you're going to start from back to zero, and you're going to do it every day for 28 days, and you're going to look at it, and you're going to look at it, and you're going to look at it. And once that pump is primed, now you can really embellish that and say, wow, I would love to go and visit my granddaughter and my grandson and live at their games or their concerts or their ballet recitals, instead of Zooming or just calling them afterwards to see how it was. How about you showing up on a plane or a long car ride and surprising them, and they look up in the stands and they see you? What joy does that give you?
Right. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so if we get our emotions tied in with what our money can do for us. See, money doesn't buy happiness. It can buy a lot of experiences. And then, of course, we all know we can have an awful lot of experiences without spending money. So the issue is money will help buy emotional experiences, and those are very pleasant. And then the more unpleasant are, we are diagnosed with something that insurance doesn't cover. And we need to be able to tap into our reserves and go to the finest specialist in the world to help us out in a jam. Yeah. So it's the entire spectrum between wants and necessities and everything in between. And yet this is not something that we're just going to, open up our journal and just, spew out a page and a half this afternoon. Not likely. If you did, God love you. Congratulations. Call me. I'll take you to the next step.
I'm thinking, so I have everything you say is amazing. Thank you so much. And I want to ask this with regards to it, because I'm curious, like I personally have my why, right? I have my dream board. I have all of that surrounded, and I coach my team to those as well. I realize that sometimes, right, I also have a business coach, a performance coach, and I realize that sometimes, like, as you said, either my why is not big enough or I just like fall back on it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not interested. Like it feels so far away. I mean, is that common? What would you say is the challenge with that? And how do you overcome it?
Well, first of all, we want to be nimble. And as women, we tend to be nimble because our brain physiologically is much more able to multitask. I mean, the neuron chit-chat in a woman's brain is neurologically very different than a man's, which is very much like a light switch on-off. Women is like, and men are more context, right? Men are more content, and women are more context. Like, hey, how does that relate to that? Oh, I had that as my big why, but now I've just been distracted, and maybe I don't feel that that's, so much of my energy is going toward that big why. No worries. Step back and punt and say, okay, what's taken its place? But if you just became flaccid and you didn't care about any of your goals, now we're talking about how did you slip into this lackluster, this depression, perhaps.
Interesting.
And let's deal with that, right? Let's deal with that. But if it's just a matter of like, oh, now, that was an interesting goal, but now that I see something, and you've gone down that road a little further, you've seen a Y in the road, and you took one of the tangents, and now you see something else that's even bigger and better. No worries, go back and tweak it. This is why it's not enough to get money right once. Mm-hmm. We have to revisit our why. We have to revisit our goal timeline. I have a goal timeline that I invented as a certified financial planner. I was just crazy about it. I loved it. Yeah. It really was very definitive. And it's like shaping a person's goals, matching the goals with the investment.
Yeah.
So we attach one horizontal line, and then vertical lines intersect that. So 0 to 12 months. What do you want to do? Put it above the line. What are your goals?
Yeah.
1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years, 7+ years. And then I'll be happy, or any financial advisor be happy to tell you what investments match that. Yeah. So no matter how sexy the stocks are, it does not belong in something earlier in duration than 7+ years. Else, you're likely to be disappointed. But if you match the proper investments from a historical standpoint of how likely is this investment to perform in this time duration, you're going to, be at second base ready to steal third. I mean, you've got a good leg up on that happening. But if you're just pie in the sky and somebody sold you something and your brother-in-law got in the insurance business and he sold you this annuity and you got this life insurance policy from somebody else and you got 2 or 3 mutual funds and a 401k and the old IRA rollover that you never even really knew what the heck was going on. You don't have any notion as to which is your weakest link. And that's where my detective mind's always like Sherlock Holmes, like the magnifying glass. Where's the weakest link? Where's the weakest link?
Yes.
Now I got to know what my goal is before I figure out the weakest link.
Yes.
Because your weak link in terms of a product might be my superstar, right?
Yeah.
So relative to your individual goals, where is the weakest link and what needs to be tossed aside and what needs to be inserted to get this car on all of its cylinders so that all the spark plugs are just completely in sync and you're flying down the road able to look out the window and enjoy the view.
Yeah.
Congratulate yourself. Celebrate your wins. There's another thing that women don't do too well.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I did that. So I say to you, hey, Lori, you got a lot of listings, Amy, boy, you really, did a lot of listings, And you're saying, yeah, I did that last week. No. You did 8 last week.
Yeah.
Our norm is 5.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, let's celebrate it.
Yeah.
A toddler starts walking across the room and they stumble and they fall. Get up, Johnny. Get up, Janie.
Yeah.
And like we stumble or we don't even stumble. We walk across the room and say, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can walk. Well, you can, but how about if we celebrate that once,
Yes.
Give yourself a blue ribbon.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
We're pretty guilty of that.
We probably have lost a lot of our blue ribbons.
Mm-hmm.
Or as you said, not even received them.
We need a whole wall of blue ribbons for us.
There you go. I think I heard you guys saying that in the past, you hadn't had so many blue ribbons, but from today on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. We received that too.
There you go.
There's so much that you shared. Like I just heard you say, like, if you have every aspect of those parts all firing at the same time, you're so much more likely to achieve and receive what it is that you're desiring to create, what your big why is, as you said, right? I had never thought about it from that perspective. I had always thought like, okay, this is this and this is this. And the reality is what you're saying is you need to bring those all together, get them functioning together so that you can really be empowered to come to the desire, the like, oh, this is what I want to be. I just got to ask you more.
Exactly.
I just got to ask you more about your grief coach perspective on this, because that really spoke to me right now. Because when I mentioned sometimes how I fall off, and sometimes I'm like, my brain said, "Oh, you're right. Am I just depressed in that moment, or did I have to just punt, as you said, move, shift, because my goals have changed, my why has changed." Rather than being like, oh, I'm just not moving forward and I'm just not motivated and I just don't feel connected. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like to ask myself why, oh gosh, so you got out of the shower, Lori, and you're just kind of lackluster. And you're like, hey, I'm not feeling my normal self.
Yeah.
Wonder why. Hey, Lori, why aren't you feeling great today? And I just have a little conversation with myself. I sometimes get the mirror out. I say, hey, Deborah, why aren't you on all jets today? What the hey? What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I think I learned in neuro-linguistic programming, and it dovetails with grief coaching a lot, and that is when emotions are high, intellect is low, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And it's best not to smush them all together and deal with both of them at once. Like you're thinking you need a real good cry.
Yeah.
And you think, no, but I'm too busy. I got to make this phone call and that appointment and blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute. You're going to ruin the emotional cleansing of a good cry. And your business thing is going to be compromised because you really want to cry.
Yeah.
So cry. Set yourself a timer.
Yeah.
Literally. however much the problem is, set yourself a timer. If you're not done when the timer goes off, hit the snooze, give yourself another couple minutes. And when you're done, and you say, thank you, universe. Thank you, body. Thank you, tears, for cleansing. It's a shower for my soul. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And thank you, Debra, for taking this time to emote, because it's valuable. And you felt it, and you exercised that action as a result of it. And now I'm going to turn my attention to the intellectual side, and I'm going to make this call, and I'm going to make this appointment, and I'm going to see about this listing, and I'm going to figure out what new properties came on the market since I have last looked at the MLS. And then you deal with the intellect. And I can assure you that each activity, the emotional release and the intellectual exercise, will be done with aplomb if you do them separately.
I love that. I mean, just the other day, I was like driving down the freeway because my second son just moved out. And I just started crying out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, I want him to come home. And he can't come home. And instead of me thanking myself for feeling that, I was like, this is just not good for me. Like, why am I feeling this way? And I really loved how you shifted that into like, thank you for just having that moment, right? To feel and be where I was in that moment and being grateful for the opportunity. Right. What a very different perspective on a moment that you're feeling sad. Right. So that you have the opportunity to move the rest of the day forwards to be successful.
Yeah.
You do. And you honor the depth of the love, which basically is the driver for the depth of the grief, right? So you honor, you say, look, I'm really sad now because I love my son.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that when we riff together, it's just, we're splitting, side-splitting humor, and it's just always so rich, or he's always there for me, and I'm always able to help him with that and bake his favorite dinner and dessert. Whatever it is, you thank the universe and that person for the depth, and yourself for the depth of love that is bringing tears to your eyes, because you're without it more times than you're going to be with it, at least in a physical manner. Right. And that in of itself is going to cause you to prioritize it and put it on your calendar to have Zooms or whatever you need to do to make up that difference.
Yeah, I would agree, because I've been very intentional about that time now. I'm like, okay, family gathering, dinner, gathering 6, 8 of us is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, it is. So, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it is 100%. Debra, how do you go from being in your financial business for as long as you did, and then finally deciding that you're going to shift into this new opportunity that you're moving forward? How were you able to make that shift? And I mean, I understand. Just go ahead. I'm just going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you answer that.
Well, basically, I had a number of clients that, particularly heterosexual couples, although I had a lot of lesbian couples, and people would come in, but particularly in the heterosexual couples, the woman would come in, and it's an older woman typically. Like typically people seek a professional when they have real money, like when they're 60 or north of it, right?
Yes.
And so they're like, oh my gosh, wait, I can't make a mistake now, right? And the woman, would sit there a little bit, timid and everything, and I'd draw her right in, and the guys would always thank me in the hall afterwards. Oh, thank you for drawing her in. I've been trying to get her involved in this for decades. Right. So it's always been a good experience for me, and to see the light bulb go off for women, it was just completely energizing. And so I say to women, and I actually have a TED Talk called "Feel the Financial Fear and Do It Anyway,"
and
in which I talk about. Oh, thank you. Yeah. In which I talk about, okay, women, it's not our fault. Older women, it's not our fault we weren't taught about money.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yes.
It is our responsibility. And so we want to come at it with that, phew, I don't need to self-flagellate because I wasn't taught about money. I wasn't taught about it, Yes. And now I'm going to dig in because I don't want to be suddenly single and then learning about money. And that is so often the case with women. And I think that that's a horrible recipe for disaster, because you're grieving, and you're emoting, and then somebody's saying, well, buy this and buy that, and what are you going to do for the casket, and how about the funeral? You know, you can't do all that stuff together.
Yes.
So it's best to have a relationship with, and I always espouse a fee-only financial advisor. I was one of those for 21 years, and I was completely out at the edge of that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I like to take away any conflict of interest with commissions. I just do. And it's possible to do money without earning commissions.
Right.
I did it for 21 years and I did it successfully. So I like that. And also the reason is that fee-only professionals, Lori and Amy, are those who have on average well over 20 years experience. And we had continuing education credits in law, risk management, cash flow, budgeting, estate planning, income tax, investments, risk management. I probably missed some stuff. So we had continuing ed credits and a real good base of knowledge about all of these disciplines because guess what? Life is interdisciplinary. And it's best to know when you hit the domino called investments that it's going to hit that tax domino. And then the tax domino is going to hit the charitable contributions. And that's going to maybe affect your legacy and your estate planning. And it's helpful to know what impacts what in order to plan for it, especially on withdrawing from monies, like you have a lump sum. And I always make the analogy, you know, you can make a fair share of investments mistakes, if you will, if we can even call them mistakes, because you know you can't be in this game without making some slip ups. But the fact is, on the ascent, right, when you're building up your portfolio, you can hiccup a few times. But I'm telling you what. A financial mistake, and I will call it a mistake, on the way down, i.e. not assessing what is the tax cost of each of these dollars, could alter whether you have lifetime income an additional 7 years or 4 years or 12 years.
Yes.
It's that serious. And so people, you know, come to me and say, I got $1 million IRA. You know, and I write down on my page, you know, you got 700,000 because 30% is tax, right? So, you know, people get like really kind of fogged out about the fact that, you know, and they only focus in on taxes on April 15th or whenever they're on extension to. But, you know, the issue is very, very keen. In all of my years of advising clients, and we did pretty well. Mm-hmm. Our clients stuck with us. That's how I know we did well. Yes. They can move with their feet, right? Yes. Walk with their feet. They stayed with us. And yet one of the biggest victories I had many, many victories personally. I mean, I helped a guy who was HIV positive, went into full-blown AIDS, 0 T cells, and he came back, and I moved him out of a non-stress organization, you know. Yes. I mean, I have stories that would, you know, they're impressive. Yes. But from an investment standpoint, a tax standpoint, like I saved one of my wealthiest clients, I saved him $250,000 in capital gains tax.
Wow.
And I'm at the table.
Yes.
I'm at the table with him around a big conference table with 2 of his CPAs, one tax attorney and another regular attorney.
Oh, no.
And they were all ready to bite off $250,000 of capital gains. And I said, I leaned forward and I said, well, I have an idea. We don't have to do that. Yeah. And it was just like, you know, everybody was black-jawed. It was just like, what? You know? And so, that, you know, we didn't have to, you know, nobody was having to sell anybody on continuing to deal with Debra. I mean, it just mattered. It mattered. Not that I'm Jesus Christ wrapped in the flesh. I'm not yet. I do know that the interdisciplinary aspect of planning for taxes to minimize your taxes so that your cash flow and your net worth continue to grow at a reasonable rate is just plain smart. Else, why would a person buy raw land? So you buy raw land out in Cali, right? You buy raw land for $1 million and maybe you get a postage stamp. And then your twin sister, maybe your younger sister, Amy, buys a rental property for $1 million. So she's getting rent, right? You're not. You bought raw land. You don't care about income. You're saying, I don't care about income. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I don't want the tax implications. Right. But Amy, in this little example, says, no, I'd like to have that makes me feel good. I get monthly rent and I pay my X and Y bills with them. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, when you guys sell, both of you sell on the same day, it's possible that your total return, Lori, is 8%, and it all came from Cap App.
Yes.
And it's possible that Amy's also got total return of 8%, but she got 3% in rents, and she got 5% in Cap App. Yes. Well, her taxation is different. And it's not one is better than the other. It's what would be best for Lori and what would be best for Amy.
Right. Yes.
That's where the melding of knowing this stuff And I can assure you there's not a broker alive that even knows enough to ask these questions, let alone how to solve it. So that's why you need to be with the fee-only planner. And I'm not one anymore. I have no shirt in this game other than to say I've inherited people who have I've been biting the inside of my cheeks when I see what somebody has done something to them, and it's just really, it causes them a lot more time to recover, and maybe the psychological scars are much deeper, and then I have to really spend a lot more time, which I don't mind doing, and yet in terms of having people, quote unquote, forgive themselves, and there's another buzzword, we could talk a whole day on that.
Yes.
Women have not bounced back from what they perceive as financial mistakes anywhere near as much as their male counterparts.
Yeah.
And that has to stop.
Yeah.
That has to stop.
Yes.
So people would come into my office and they would say, "Oh, I made this horrible mistake." I said, "Okay, tell me what it was." And they'd tell me what it was. And I said, "And what else?" And they say, "Oh, no, that was it. That was it." And I repeated exactly what they said. I said, "That was it? Oh, heck, if that was it, we're golden, you know." And we'd move forward. I would see them perk up. They'd bring their arms on the table. They'd lean in, and now they're ready to go.
Oh, my goodness.
Because, like, the coach or the professional said, "It's okay, Betty.
Yes.
Brush yourself off. Come on. I'm gonna dribble the ball, and I'm gonna pass it to you, and you're gonna put it in the hoop."
Yes.
Again and again and again.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, Debra, obviously we could talk and talk and talk.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to know that I am a huge believer in coaching in all areas, in every area of your life, especially in an area that you're not succeeding in or feel as if you're failing in or making mistakes in, right? I'm a huge fan of bringing a specialist in for that and just coaching you through that. Debra, I hear you have a fantastic event coming up. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I do. And I would love for any of your listeners to partake, and you guys as well. It is a one-day, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. So you guys have to get up at 8, but 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, Feb 24th, and it's called Intentionally Wealthy Women Conference.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Holy camoly. We're going to unpack this whole thing about, I can't do it. We're going to talk about believing you can. We're talking about financial assumptions, biases. What stopped you up until now? What's the difference now?
Yeah.
We're just going to go deep dive, and I'm going to open the kimono. I'm going to share mistakes I've made and how I've recovered and how you can too. And it's available right now at an early bird price. So maybe you can pop on the descriptor.
Yes.
Women, it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
WomenNavigatingFinances.com. That's my website. WomenNavigatingFinances.com /IWW for Intentionally Wealthy Women. And you can grab a general admission now for like $47, about half price, and a VIP for $97, half price. The VIP, you get the recordings from the whole day because sometimes I speak fast and people like to go back and listen to it. I give away my Truth About Money course where I'm really down and into, English and not finances about all areas, risk, insurance, investments, bada bing, bada bang, taxes, and estate planning. And then there's some little swag that's a lot of fun. There's some personalized phone holders and aluminum things. It's just fun. Yeah. It's just fun. And so I just encourage anybody to join me. If you can't come for the whole day, get the VIP and get the recordings. But ultimately, if you have felt that your financial coach or advisor is listening to you and you got everything in complete sync and you know the probability of your being able to retire comfortably and being able to enhance your charitable giving and so forth, and so you got that all under wraps, it's not for you. If you think you might have made a couple mistakes along the way and you think I'm too stupid, I'm too old, I'm too then pop over and I'm going to disabuse you of those silly assumptions because
that's awesome.
They are silly.
I love it. And I'm going to watch my calendar, see if I can make that happen because I'm super stoked about it. I mean, I love just your energy. I think it's fantastic and you'll keep me engaged because a lot of people can't keep me engaged.
That's true.
Yeah.
I could already tell you will keep my attention. And so I just am super stoked. I'm glad you joined us on the podcast today. Where can, and FYI for all our listeners, of course, this is going to be in the notes down below. show so you guys can get to her website, get to all her social media links because you're on LinkedIn. I saw you on LinkedIn. I asked to connect with you there. I found your
Yes,
YouTube
you
page and I
We
already
are.
subscribed to it. And you're on
Fun.
Instagram. And where else are you? Facebook? Anywhere
Yeah,
else?
Facebook. I'm pretty light on Instagram, but I have a couple Facebook groups. Women Navigating Finances free Facebook page, and then I have a paid Facebook page. But I also have Widow Empowerment on Facebook, which is valuable, and Women Empowerment. I got a few Facebook pages, but definitely reach out. And my email is team. I'd rather do it team TEAM at Women Navigating Finances, and then someone will get back to you ASAP, and we can get you on the right road because time is a wasting. People, women in particular, they're a little nervous about making a mistake. Like I get to people and they be like, "Okay, I'm ready. Signed up. I signed up.
Yeah.
I'm ready to invest. I have no idea how to do it. How can I do it?" So we give you step by step, right? And the issue is that if in fact we can take little steps at the beginning that give us confidence, then the world is our oyster.
That's
the world
right.
is our oyster.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that, girlfriend. I give you that for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
All day long.
So what is the one thing you would love to leave our listeners with, aside for go to her conference if it's a good fit for you? And I love that you've shared why it would be a great fit. What is the one last thing you'd love to leave with them?
Pay attention to your money, and it will pay you back.
Oh, amen.
We can do it, women.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
We can do it, women.
100%. Oh, Debra, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We love it. And I
You're
can't wait to
most
see you on
welcome.
the 24th. I'm excited.
Yes, me too.
Let's
Me
do it.
too.
All right. Excellent. Thank you,
Okay, thanks,
Debra.
Lori and Amy.
All right.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
good.
Make it a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.